Okay, so it's saying we're live now. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? I'm sorry, it's just me today. There's no Dermot. Um, Today, I'm very happy to have Deborah Iwabuchi. And students, if you're in a position to take one of Deborah's classes, do it because I would say, like, Deborah, you're one of the more popular teachers among both the students and the other teachers. So, let me tell you why I think that's the case. One is you give really good advice. Like you're always you kind of a real person. Like you bring your experience to the table. You always have
Older.
honest answers. You're very friendly. You're very easygoing. And here's what I think is the main thing is you sometimes you bring homemade cookies. So, and they're not listen, they're not like bought in a store packaged cookies. These are real cookies, like mom used to make. So that's it's like having mom on campus, but not embarrassing.
Good,
All
good.
right.
I'm glad I'm not embarrassing it.
So I don't know. Do you want to introduce yourself? Is there anything you want to say before I start asking you some questions?
Well,
Sorry, take your time.
it's hard to introduce myself. I've been teaching at Kenjo for about 15 years now. It's hard to believe
Hmm.
it's been that long. And when I started, the students were the same age as my daughters. So it was like really terrific. I could ask them advice how to get along with my own daughters. But now, even my kids are older than my students. But yeah, I love teaching. I love teaching there, and
Good.
students are good.
That's why you stayed, I guess.
Hmm?
That's why
Yeah,
you
they're right.
stayed. Okay. You got anything else for us?
Oh, yeah, and
If
I'm
you
a, I'm
want,
a
if you want.
translator. It's my main
Yeah.
occupation. Yes.
Your main occupation, yeah. That sometimes
Yeah.
I forget that actually.
Yeah. Right now, teaching may be my main occupation because this is a bad translation is down, way down right now. So
Hmm. Well, everything's down, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Even, I mean, well, okay, we'll get into that. Don't worry. All right, so let's start with the university stuff because if there's students watching, maybe want to take your classes in the future, or maybe I hope maybe will, you know, want to. So would you say 15 years?
Yeah.
How long have I
50.
been? How long have I been doing it? Almost that long. Not quite.
This is the
Yeah.
15th year. Oh, you've been there as long as I have, I'm sure.
I I think I think 14 for me. Maybe I'll have to count. It's bad when you have to count.
Right.
So, so you've been teaching for a long time at the same place. I think that's really special. It's important and special. So why do you keep coming back to GPWU? What's so great about it?
Well, first of all, I taught for like 8 years at Kyoai Gakuen
Okay.
before I had children.
Do you still do that?
No, no, because it takes up going to a high school or junior high takes up a lot more time and energy.
Yes, it does. Certainly, yeah.
And it in the college, it's just you just go for the days of your classes, and
Yeah.
it's easier. Also,
Hmm.
I don't have small children running around the house anymore. But my husband and my daughters like me to be there because otherwise, if I was translating only, I'd always at home by myself.
Okay.
So
All
they
right.
like me to go out and talk with other people.
But 15 years of the same school. What's so
Oh,
great about
oh, I would never go anywhere else
it?
instead of
It's a good answer.
yeah, I've never taught at any other colleges,
Mm.
so I don't know what they're like, but I wouldn't take another one over this one. Yeah, the students are, I don't know. They're
Mm.
good and they're really working towards something.
Yes, yeah. That's very obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and I think most of the teachers feel that way that
Hmm.
like they'll be planning to go overseas and also working a part-time job, but also getting all their assignments in and coming to class. So, yeah, I feel like they're really engaged with life, and that's kind of excited to be a part of.
I'm so sorry if I seem distracted. There's so many things going on at the same time, and because I'm alone today, it's pretty hard. Like, so I'm just gonna say like, Yuno is in the chat, and so is Kieko Kamada from.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
oh, wait, you know from, he
yeah,
lives in my neighborhood.
yeah.
Bunkyocho Gambare.
All right. Okay, so really quick, what classes do you teach? Or
So I'm
most often?
teaching listening one with the beta class and translation studies one.
Mhm.
So the thing about translation studies is that usually I've had some of the students before in other classes.
Hmm.
I look forward to that because I don't have to learn everybody's name and faces all over
It's
again.
that's an elective, isn't it? For third, is
Yeah,
it third year?
third year and fourth year. So third year and fourth year people.
Okay. What do you think? Well, I mean, you kind of answer, but what what's your favorite class to teach over the years
Well,
at Joshi
that's my favorite class because
translation?
it's kind of, translation is my love. So that's, it's my life. I really don't have hobbies. My job is my hobby. So
All
yeah.
right. So language, especially translation.
Right, right. But I do like the first year students. I always liked
Yeah.
listening and grammar with the first year students. And yeah,
You get to
the
see
only
them. Yeah.
problem is those 9 o'clock classes.
I don't mind that, but you get to see the first year students change a lot. I think
Right.
that's pretty special actually.
Hmm.
Because like they're at the start they're high school students, right? And then
Right.
depending on how quickly within a couple weeks they're university students, more or less. What's your like style? What kind of teaching style do you have? Do you think?
You mean usually?
Yeah, I'm of course. Yeah, not like now.
I don't know what kind of style is it. I I like to. I don't like to lecture. I don't stand up and lecture because
Hmm.
I don't have that much to say about anything on any one day. So
Yes.
uh, I like to have the back and forth with the students. And I always remember when I first started teaching, and I asked Mark Fryermuth for some advice,
Yeah.
and his word of advice to me was, "Well, they like to go up to the board and write."
Yeah.
And it's interesting. That's so true.
Yeah.
Students
Yeah.
love to go up to
Sometimes.
the board and write.
So you use
Even
that.
if I can't get any reaction out of anybody, if I write their names on the board, they have to come up and write. They will do it. And so, yes, I try to do that as much as possible. In the translation studies, too, I'm really missing that now because I can't ask them to come up and write. It's hard, and it's hard for the students to show. You can tell they don't want to make a mistake.
So we're doing this in English. I'm sorry, Kieko. So Kieko just wrote in the YouTube chat. She's having a lot of trouble understanding English. So I'm just sorry. I just translated that on the fly. It's not perfect, but sorry.
She's
Stick with it. Turn the subtitles on.
You can do
Okay.
subtitles with
Yeah,
this.
YouTube does subtitles. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
it's not perfect, but it's pretty decent. Okay, and then so that's usual stuff. And what's changed now that we we have this whole mess of things to deal with?
So now, yeah, when I'm teaching, I can't see, anybody's face because I record it ahead of time because I don't want to have a huge shock while I'm teaching and not, oh, it's not working.
Yes,
I don't
yes,
want to
yes.
go into a
Yeah.
panic. I don't want the students to go into a panic. So I record it ahead of time and I try to pretend, I can see them listening to it. So that's
Mm,
hard because, you really want to see the reaction of
yes,
the
yeah.
student.
Do you ever think about putting like dummies or like dolls up in front of you so you can see something?
No, I never
No.
thought of that's interesting. I've got
I,
my Dharma and my Maneki Neko to watch me. That's, yeah.
I don't think you should do it. I was just curious if
Oh,
that's
no.
something you should do.
But now the other thing that's different is that there's assignments every week.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
at least, when the assignments are in the box, I feel like, okay, we've got this. Or if the
Okay.
students send a private message, I'm really glad to read those.
Yeah, I think it's certainly easier to keep track of assignments and work that's been completed and stuff like that. That's a good thing for sure. Okay, anything else you can think of? I think
No.
everyone's finding their own style, which is interesting.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about it overall, like the online thing?
Yeah. The second half, it's
Okay.
getting easier to do. The first half, it was like my husband was just going crazy, watching me go crazy. Just
Yeah.
think it's going to work out. And you help me, Dave. You help me a lot. Kind of, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. And
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
yes, yes. So, and I knew you were there too, in case I needed to ask questions.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm here, right? For this kind of stuff. Only this situation is.
Yeah, but I really miss seeing the students, and
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I'd like to get back. I'm not sure if it's going to be, October, saying it seems too soon
Yeah.
to get back.
Well, we can hope. I mean, there are certainly things I personally I like about online teaching, but it will never replace like an actual classroom for sure. Like it's just not the same.
No, no, you got to see what, if the students seem to be understanding, and you want to have that relationship with your students too. That's,
That's missing for sure. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, you might get. I mean, I would say like you and I do it differently, and with you not doing live classes, and me mostly doing live classes, you still really don't get. It's not the same. It's you still don't get quite the same connection, even if you are having a really great class, even if the class is small. Yeah, it's very that's the very unfortunate part about it.
There are some things that I put in the video.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't watch the video, they won't get it on the assignment. So
Sneaky.
when they get it in the assignment, thank you, you watched the video.
Sorry.
So that's kind of that's one way to kind of try to connect with but I work in front of my computers. If you guys have any questions ever,
Yeah.
I'm there to answer
Yeah.
emails.
Right. Right. Well. Yeah. Okay. That's gonna segue a little bit into something I wanted to ask you about. So, so when we started this, after the first week, we had sat down and we talked about it, and you were kind of laughing at us, and as we were all complaining about this and that, right? And you said something I'm not going to forget for a while. It's you guys are a bunch of amateurs, right? So you've
Working
been,
at home
yeah,
amateurs.
yeah. So tell me about that. Like, so someone who's been working at home for a while, what are we doing wrong, and how can we fix it?
Oh, I don't know if you're doing anything wrong, but it's just not being used to it
Yes,
and
yes.
having problems dealing with
Okay,
it.
well, how do you deal with it?
Well, yeah, okay. Can we play the violins? Da, 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 da. When my children were small, they
Yes.
were so loud. They
Okay.
were loud all the time. The phone would ring and they'd start screaming. Anything, they were loud all the time. So
Yes,
when they
I'm
started
familiar with this
kindergarten,
situation.
yes. When they went to kindergarten and I'd come home and I'd be by myself, it was so wonderful. So it was that quiet time by myself. I loved it. And this remained the same until they graduated from high school, because they would always come home every day. And after they graduated from high school, the last one, and then it was just me in the house and nobody coming home in the evening, if my husband was late. Then it got, I think that's when I started teaching at Joshi Dai.
Uh huh.
because I liked working in the quiet, perfect quiet. And then when I needed some noise, I had the school to go back to. But
Right.
another thing about working at home that I've noticed is that you have to be able to meet the deadlines
Mm-hmm.
without people actually standing over you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you need
I
that
think that
discipline. Yeah.
I think that's a problem with working at home. And for me, that was not a
Mm-hmm.
problem. So
Mm-hmm.
it really suited me well. But looking at my students too, like in the translation class, you can see the ones that are suited to that kind of work and the ones who probably won't like it. It's interesting. There
Yeah.
is a difference.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, for me it's just like whether it's good for you or not.
Well, okay. So I remember what we were talking about at the time, and it was that it's really hard to stop working. So when this is my own experience, and I it's my own problem. Really, I'm sure other people don't necessarily have that problem, but for me, I like teaching at GPWU because I'm there all day,
Hmm.
Monday through Friday. But when I go home, I'm home. It's off. Like it's like an on-off switch for me. I don't have to bring my work home. I can get it all done during the day.
Hmm.
And now I'm getting emails like 24 hours a day, and
Right.
I just feel like it's really really hard to separate like being home and being at work when you're always at home slash work.
That's true. That's true. It is. When I was first working for a big company, I
Mm.
was at home most of the time, but I was working for a big company and they would call me at like 11 p.m. and demand that I make some change in a translation right then,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then send it right back to them. And I remember rolling out of bed to answer the phone, starting up my computer, and that was kind of a drag. But on the other hand, I, especially when my mother was ill, I could go back to the States for a month
Mm-hmm.
and never miss any work. So
Well,
that's a
there's
thing.
you have us like an you well potentially you have another problem that's like, and I've heard this from other people who work kind of internationally, is they might be in a different time zone to you, like completely out of
Hmm.
whack time zone when you're dealing with these people sometimes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, but you get used to that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like in California, Sunday evening is Monday morning in Japan.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay,
like
yeah.
Sunday evening, I'd start, okay, time for somebody to email me something. So you just, and the other advantage to that is that if you get if you get the job at just the right time, you can do it, and your client will come in the next morning and it'll be right there. So it's like, oh wow, I gave this to you yesterday night, and wow, this morning when I woke up, there it was. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Um, hmm. All right, just really quick before we move on. So we're starting to talk about translation, but why should someone take your translation class? What's a good reason? Can you sell it for me? Why do
Oh,
students need to take translation?
well, because basically it's about writing English. And I'm thinking that a lot of the students are going to be using their English when they go out into the world, and it's going to be a great tool. So, learning to write and expressing, especially if you're in a situation where you've got a Japanese person here and a person who speaks English here,
Yes.
and they say, okay, you speak English, so you tell them, you write the note, or you do this in English. And being able to understand what the person in English needs to know. You can't just do a Google Honyaku and expect it to be understandable. So one thing is learning how to write better. And the other is get the idea of, how Japanese and English are different. Those are,
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I know I'm not a translator, obviously, right? But
Right.
I
So
can imagine how difficult that could be. Like, knowing what I know about both of the languages and how they often just don't match up at all. I mean,
right.
that's a really big challenge. Okay,
Yeah, it
so yeah,
is.
go
And
ahead.
you may learn it kind of automatically, so
Hmm.
it's automatic. But to be conscious of it, you can use it in different ways too.
Mm-mm-mm. Do you ever get okay? So we're gonna get into this really quick, but so Yuna, I think Tamara is in the chat. She stopped by, and Kieko said she wants us to use easy English.
Oh, easier English.
so
Kiko.
so so translation. What was I gonna say about translation? Oh yeah. Do you ever have so? Why did you become a translator? Why was that something that is it something you always wanted to do?
I like to write.
All
I
right.
want to be a writer, but I don't have like a unique thought in my brain. So I can write. Translating means writing somebody else's words. So you have to be creative
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and artistic. You have to think. And so it's just, yeah, that's why. And yes, I had been teaching at school and I was just, worn out.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
my children wore me out.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law, my husband, they all wore me out.
Yes, yes, yes.
When I was translating, I could just go into my own little world and just stay there
Mm.
and for a while and, be creative that way. So, yeah, I like it. And yeah, also, I want to push this. This is a book that I use. If you're not sure, oh, I can't speak English. Well, this week the text is in Japanese and it's got my name on it. I helped.
Good.
It's helped by Deborah Iwabuchi. But then this is by Kazuko Enda, who's like my best friend for I don't want to say how many years because you can add that up really fast. Kazuko Enda is, one of my very best friends, and she and I have been working together for years and years and years. And she writes in a really her her policy for writing is Deborah ga yomeru koto. If I can read it, then it's clear enough for
All right, all right.
anybody to understand. So yes.
Do you have any more books you want to plug?
Can I show you one that I've just finished
Yes,
recently?
please, please.
I don't have the English version. This is going to be assignment for Translation Studies 2 part of this.
Hmm.
Do you guys recognize that picture?
I don't
This is
recognize the picture. What is that?
how about the animal? Do you recognize
No.
that's Elmer's El Hermano Boken o Kaita Jose.
Okay.
It's a Japanese book about an American writer.
Okay.
She wrote Hermano Boken or My Father's Dragon.
Mm.
I just finished translating this and we sent it to her. I think it's like her 97th birthday. She came to Japan. Anyway, so this is a book that I've finished recently.
Yay.
Yay. And let's see, I have another one. Here's one that was published. It's about Okinawan foods from
Oh, cool.
the 19th century or something.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah. This has beautiful pictures. Don't worry about the English. The pictures are wonderful.
Okay,
Lots
cool.
of photographs. Okay. That's good for now.
Okay. No, I'm happy. It's good to see. It's always good to see what you're working on. That's great. Okay, so you became a. Okay, so can you tell a little bit like when and why did you start Minami Mookie translations? How did that happen?
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, up until just past the bubble years,
Mm-hmm.
I was like making a lot of money and I needed to have a way to deal with taxes. But As
This was
soon as I got this company going,
yeah.
my income went down.
Oh, because of of course, the bubble, right?
Well, this was past the bubble.
Okay.
This was 2004, but I bubbled for a while. It was
Mm,
great.
mm, mm,
And then my income went down. But yeah, the idea was, and there's some clients that want a company. They want you to have a company.
of course, yeah. So
They
they're
don't
not,
want to
yeah,
deal with an individual.
yeah. I understand. Yeah.
So that was another reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the name was, Minami Mookie.
Mm-hmm.
There were two rooms my husband and I had to do our work in, and I took the south one from him.
That's pretty clever, actually. Okay.
So he thought of that name. Well, you have the south room, so you can be Minami Mookie.
Did he have his own company for the North Room?
No, he's a teacher in the public school, so didn't use his room during the daytime. So
Okay. Okay. What are we doing here? Minami Mookie. Okay. Let's see. What? Let's. Okay. So let's transition a little bit. I
mhm.
hope Kieko, you can tell us if you want to know more about, like, if you have another question. Go ahead and ask it.
My
She's in the chat.
is she in the second year? Did I? I'm sure I had her in
Kieko.
classes. No.
She wants to know about genres. I've got to translate this on the fly too. So she wants to know about genres. Okay.
Translation?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So
Hang
shall
on.
I talk about what kind of things?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Or what? Where is she?
It's a Facebook chat. Yeah. What? We'll just say, like, it's. Hey, Kieko. What do you want to know? What kind of translations? What kind of stuff do you do? Is it like anything we want? Anything the customer wants, or do you have a
I
specific
tend to
genre?
be I tend to be anything the customer wants type.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will only translate books, and some people never translate books. But thanks to the internet, you can look up so many things now.
That's true. Yes.
When I first started translating back when, in the dark ages, I just had books full of dictionaries and I would just look through all my dictionaries for all these words. But now we have the internet. So, uh, and the genre of work that I get changes. It changes a lot. With,
Mm.
with the, first of all, I did like quality assurance, Hinshitsukandi, and then marketing
Mm-hmm.
research.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the marketing research was shampoo. And it was just for years, just translating shampoo all the time. And then that changed. And then it changed to like medical things. Now there's more medical, like American company wants to sell
Yeah, yeah.
in Japan. And, the same with the books. My first books were about sumo. I did 3 books on sumo.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I learned all about sumo.
So, she's asking about. I'm sorry. Like, it's really really hard to do all these things. It's something about, like, I think she wants to know, like, your process. Like, what's the process like when you're trying? Like, let's say you get a book to translate. How do you go through it?
Okay,
What are the
so
steps?
sugoku ikage. Some people they'll read the whole thing and then translate.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do that.
Mm.
I translate it while I'm reading it
Oh, okay.
because I'm really interested. I'm the most interested when I'm reading it for the first time.
Okay, it's fresh.
It's fresh. Yeah. So sometimes that takes up a lot of extra time, but looking up things, and then of course you have to go back again. But also, sometimes I skip parts like I'll skip a page or 2 pages or something. But if I'm just reading it for the first time, I tend to stick with it. And I don't leave things out. So, yeah. My friend Kazuko and I translate books together, and I always make her give me the first part so I know what's going on. And she'll read the first half, and then she'll start the second half.
That reminds me of a time that my friends and I forgot to do an assignment in university until it was like too late to get it done. So we just split it up. We just split the
Right.
book up, and we talked about. I think we read everyone read the first chapter and the last chapter, and we divided up the other chapters, and we just talked about it, and it took us like two nights to finish it. And, oh,
Yeah. Oh, there's another book I wanted to show you.
go ahead.
Let me see. Okay, so the paper book of this is coming out, but this is a book that's stories of wartime survivors.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 15 war stories and 15 letters from young people. And Ai Kawashima and Mao something Kama. Now, what's Mao's last name?
Kamata.
Huh? Kamata. That's it. Mao Kamata, Ai Kawashima. And also Urimata.
Oh, yeah. She's fantastic, yeah.
They each translated one of the letters in
Wow,
here.
that's cool, man.
People. Yeah, so for me, this was a lot of fun because my students' names are in.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so keep that in mind, students. If you take Deborah's class, she might make you famous someday. You never know.
If the timing's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you too can work in the South Room. So Yuna Tamura is she says she's on childcare leave. Congratulations, Yuna. Hey, there's something, huh? When when your students start having kids. It's not that unusual when you teach university students, really.
Right. Yeah. Congratulations.
It's always fun though when they come by. No, there's some crying going on.
That's a good reason to be at school all the time.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. We get a lot of visitors actually. It's pretty fun. Okay, so gosh, we've been going a half hour already. I'm so sorry. I'm taking up your valuable time here.
This is so much fun. I'm good.
All right. So I guess is there anything else you want to know, Kieko? Go ahead and ask. If you could make it as simple as possible, so I'm trying to translate this like as we go. Okay. And then I would really like to know why. This is switching gears, but why did you choose Japan? You've been here for a long time now. Why Japan?
Well, I first came to Japan when I was 17, and it was a home sister city, Shimaitoshi. And my sister city was Shimada in Shizuoka Prefecture.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was I worked at McDonald's and I earned my half of the trip. It was like $450. That was half for
You worked
2 months.
at McDonald's in the States or here in the States?
No,
Okay.
in the States, yes. So I wanted to go somewhere, anywhere out of the country. And there was like my French teacher was saying she was going to take the students to France. I think, well, but if I get this Japan thing, it'll cost less, So it was like either one. And I got accepted for the Japan. And so I was like, that's it. I'm going to Japan.
Did you know any Japanese at the time?
Nothing.
Ooh.
I knew nothing. It was amazing how little I knew about anything. So we had a orientation. We had to learn, how to be polite. And that was kind of terrifying to have to learn to be polite enough in Japanese society.
I would imagine it's changed quite a lot over that time.
It has.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came again. So I wanted to learn Japanese after that.
Okay. Okay.
So I studied Japanese in college. And then, uh, yeah. And then when I graduated, there were no jobs, and I didn't want to go to any more school. So I got a job teaching at Kilai
Mm.
through the church.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, people say, "Oh, your parents let you go to Japan." And I'm like, "Yeah, my father told me, you go to Japan, you need a job." So,
Yeah. Okay. I suppose that was a time when Japan was doing like fantastically well, actually, and the
yes.
U.S. not so much. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Um, so your family was like very happy actually that you went to Japan, because that was one of my questions. Your father was like, "Go, go, get out of here."
Yeah, my mother told me later she didn't want me to go. But
Ah,
I both of my parents have been to Japan many, many times over the
oh, that's
years.
nice.
So people say, "Don't your parents miss you?" And I'm like, "They come all the time."
I wish I could get my parents to go. Well, my now parent to come, but I guess it can't be done, especially not right now, right? Um,
My
okay.
parents are
Yeah. Go ahead.
Japanese. They're they're very Japanese. They're from the Midwest in the United States,
What's
or my
that?
father is. I feel like their personalities are very Japanese, kind of
Oh,
ikai.
oh, 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 oh. Okay.
So they get along well. My father always says, I speak, they say, "Do you speak Japanese?" And he'd say, "I speak Japanese food."
Yeah, I get a lot of that too. Um, Kieko, let me know if that answered your question or not too, by the way. So, um, what about so where did you meet your husband? How did that happen? Is that something you mind talking about?
Now, he worked at Kyoai too.
Okay, okay, all
He worked in the office.
right.
Yeah, his job was taking care of me.
Yeah.
Actually,
And he did.
he did. He still does. Yeah. He doesn't work there anymore, but he's
Yeah.
still taking care of me. So that's kind of our story, is that, yeah. And he wanted to become a teacher,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't mind if he wanted to quit his job. So
Hmm.
it was like at that time,
Hmm.
it was very rare to
Yes,
get
still.
a job, get married, and then
Yeah.
quit your job.
It's still rare. It's still rare. I've not seen it that much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, cool. That's very cool. What about you raised a family here as well? Like, what kind of challenges did you have to overcome when you were raising your family? You know, so far away from from your other family.
Well, I lived with my mother-in-law, which
Mm-hmm.
was a real
That's
challenge.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess, my daughters had a hard time being half. And
I see.
everybody was kind of always asking them questions and, demanding they speak English. And it was difficult for them. So that's, I love the students at Joshidai, and, some of them come from different places.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
they're Japanese, ethnic Japanese from southern South America or
Mm-hmm.
other countries, and they just, you know,
They're just
they,
people.
yeah, they're
They're
just
just
people, but
people. Yeah.
they're leading their lives, and they're
Yes.
just, I'm so proud of them, and it gives me a lot of hope. It does that this is the way,
But your kids seem to turn out okay. I mean, they're doing pretty
Yeah,
well now, right?
they're okay, but they still have things to say. But yes, one daughter lives in San Diego, and she's been in her house for like 4.5 months.
Yeah, me
But she
too.
has she has a 2-year-old boy, so my second grandson, and my other daughter lives next door to us. So that's nice. And she also has a little boy. So I have two grandsons, two daughters, and two grandsons. And let me tell you,
Yes.
this is the best way to do it,
Okay, tell me.
because your daughters will come back forever. They just keep coming back. And if they have boys, little
Yes.
boys are a lot of fun. And then when you're their grandsons, you
Yes.
just have fun.
then
It's
they
not.
go and then they go away. And then they
Yeah, but by then you're so old.
no,
So
what I mean is like they come and you have fun, and then you don't have to like take care of them.
oh,
Then they
right,
just
right.
kind of leave.
They
It's
sleep
like,
next to us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
thank you for sharing that. That's great. I'm gonna ask you for more advice, like all the time, as you know, like all the time, basically, because I also have two daughters.
they never leave. I had one
Ah,
somebody I taught, and they said, "Oh, girls, they leave, they get married, and they leave home." And I was like, "No, no, they don't."
I don't know. Like, well, I mean, maybe is that a Japanese thing? Is that part of their Japanese side, or
Yeah, I don't know,
I
but I
feel like
just see
yeah.
it.
Go
But
ahead.
I do see in Japan though that yeah,
Mm,
daughters tend to come back
hmm.
and
We'll have
rely
to
on.
wait and see. They they may not. One is like quite independent, so I don't know.
You think she's quite independent.
All
Yes.
right. It's gonna make us sound old, but like what? How? Because I've seen it too. I mean, I've not been here quite the same, but what kind of changes have you seen in Japan over the time that you've been here? Oh, sorry. Wait. Think about that. So
Uh-huh.
Kieko wants to know when you have a
Hmm.
meeting.
Hmm.
I think I know the answer to this already, but when you have a meeting,
Hmm.
do you speak Japanese with the clients, or do they speak English?
No, it's pretty much
That's
Japanese.
kind of what I thought. Because that
Yeah,
if they could speak English, they wouldn't need you so so much.
right. But yeah, Kiko, what's
Mm.
interesting though is that some clients do speak English very well.
Hmm.
And they appreciate my translation more than people who don't understand English. That's what's
Oh, because they can see the nuance in it, probably. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
But I still speak Japanese with those people most of the time. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to
Man.
sound like I know what I'm doing. So
Well, yeah. What, you definitely want to show off a little bit, right? Because the client. Yeah.
right, right, right,
You
right.
pull out some rare words, I guess. Okay. So, what do you think about changes in Japan?
I think I used to feel like no matter where I was, it was kind of everything was open. I mean, people used to come to the house all the time during the day for something, just for things, and they wouldn't even knock. They would just open the door.
Ah, that's changed, hasn't it? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, like, I would never like spend all day in my pajamas because you never knew when people were coming to the house.
I still
So,
remember that actually, because that even when I arrived, that was happening a little bit, and especially in the countryside. Maybe not like around here, but like up north for sure. People just
yeah.
come into your genkan. Yeah.
And the other thing was, I could like leave the house open all the time. I almost never lock the door during the day.
Still today.
No, because now my husband's home and he wants the door locked when we leave the house. But it was things were open and that was, it was nice, but it was also very tiring because, I felt like I was kind of on duty all day long.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Didn't know who was coming or the repairman would come and you'd have to repair and then tea and snacks and
Yes, yes, yes.
conversation and that was fun, but yeah, so things like that. But there's a lot of, I think,
Okay.
expectations people have for
Mm.
each other. Once I was talking to a doctor about when I first came to Japan, I was told you need to anticipate what people want. They aren't going to ask you, please do this, please do that. You have to think,
Mm,
what do
mm,
they
mm,
want
mm.
and
What's
do it.
expected of you at that moment? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I would do that. And then, I would wait for people to, what do I want? And then my one doctor said to me, you're using an old toolbox. He says, how can you be using those old tools that nobody uses anymore?
Huh.
And that kind of, I realized at that point there were a lot of things that had to do with, Japanese society and how people were supposed to act that
Mm.
people didn't expect anymore. And when I realized that, it was easier. You know,
Mm.
didn't have to be acting like a Japanese person all the time. And the other thing is that, other things, this is just practical, but there was never anybody, you never met people from other countries.
Right, right. Hmm.
So I was always speaking Japanese. And after 4 years, I was here for 4 years and I went back to the States. And my sister said, "Why do you talk so funny?"
Yes, yes, yes.
Because
Yeah.
Kieko, I used to speak slowly and carefully
Yes, yes.
all the time.
Yeah. I used to do that too before I came to Gunma. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, Kieko. Sorry.
Right. Now there are people to talk to. And
Mm.
also, you can get what you want. I can go to like Costco or somewhere if I
Yes,
really
that's a
want something.
huge change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are we going then? Before we wrap up here, where do you think we're headed?
Oh, what?
Any idea?
What's happening?
Guesses for the
Well,
future?
you mean with this whole coronavirus business or what?
Well, I mean, you've seen a lot of changes, since
Oh,
you've been here. Where do you think we're headed?
well, I like to see that the girls, the students,
Mm-hmm.
the women are so much more, they've got such a strong idea of
Yeah.
what they want to do and things they want to accomplish. And, that I love to see that. I love seeing the women taking a bigger role
Yes. Yeah.
in
I,
society.
I got a new car the past year, and yeah, it was a lady who sold it to me. And you didn't used to see that, at least not on this, as a salesperson.
Right.
They would greet you at the door, but they wouldn't, take you on the test drive and like sign the paperwork and stuff. So yeah, that's certainly encouraging for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I see some of the students going off to different countries or,
Mm.
different jobs and things. You can see that on Facebook sometimes. And
So actually, I know I want to try to wrap up because it's been so long, but there's a lot of students, looks like former students who
mhm.
either are in the chat or were in the chat. And is there anything you want to say? Is there anything you want to, is there anybody?
Say to them,
Yeah.
email me,
Yeah.
Deborah at minamimookie.com. Yes.
Yeah. Contact her on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Facebook. Yeah. I'd love to see what you guys are doing and
Yeah.
chat with people. Yeah.
So Yuna Tamura, she said there's a lot of things she wants to tell, but my English skill is too rusty. I never thought you were that kind of girl. I thought you're so brave all the time, Yuna.
Rusty.
What do you
Let's
want to
use
say,
the
Yuna?
word rusty. That's pretty
Mm.
good.
Come on, Rusty Yuna. What do you got to say?
What do you have to say?
I don't know. Maybe she's not there anymore. I don't know.
Say something. I had a student last year in my translation class, and I also had her the first semester she
Mm.
started school. And like one of the first classes, I made her cry because about
I have so many
were
stories
so
like that. Oh
hard.
my God.
I felt so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the first. And then I had her for her fourth year in the translation class.
Mm-hmm.
And she was doing so well.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
It
I
was like she had actually achieved what she had wanted to as a first year student. And I was just, oh.
I remember, like, so one of the things I like most about teaching at GPW is
Mhm.
that a lot of times the students surprise you. Does that
Uh-huh.
make sense? I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain, but I have a group of students now that, like, it's their third or fourth year, or kind of
Mhm.
somewhere in between there. And when they in their first year, I thought, oh, they'll never be here. Like, this group of students will never be at this level. And then they work hard and they get it done. And
Uh-huh.
every week they surprise me. I'm like, geez, like,
Oh,
you guys are
yeah.
so good.
Oh, yeah. This is, yeah, Kazuko and then I have written these books, and we have these model answers in the books. And sometimes the students will just give a much better answer than we came up with. I said, wait a minute, I need to take a note of that
Mm.
because this book gets reprinted. We're using that answer next time. So, yeah.
Says this is like being back in university. It's very fun. So there
Oh,
you go.
say hello to your mother for me. Her mother trains seeing eye dogs,
Oh, that's awesome.
keeps them as puppies.
Mm.
Yeah.
I would say that's one good thing about the distance learning is I can spend like most of the day with my dog.
Oh,
I'll post a
me.
picture later. Otherwise, I can't go out, take a walk with her. All right, Deborah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to say before we go? Because I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, it's so great. It's so nice just to talk to people. Oh. So,
Well, I am here like all the time.
okay. I'll call
We
you.
don't
I'll
have
call
to
you.
do it live.
All right. And it's good to, hear from you people out there, the
Mm,
graduates. And yeah, thanks for stopping in.
they've got busy lives too.
Yeah.
I don't hold it against them. It's fun when they come by. I know Yuna came by, Kieko's come by a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Really, Deborah, thank you so much, guys. If you have a chance, once we start classes up again, say hi to Deborah. She's super
Yeah.
easy to talk to, and she's a really great teacher, and
Oh,
she's a fantastic human as well. So,
so nice. Dave's one of my
yeah,
favorite
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She's only saying that right now. That's all right, Deborah. Thank you so much.
All
I'm
right.
gonna
Thanks a
finish this
lot.
up.
Talk to you
Wait,
later. Bye bye.
you stay on the line for a second. I'm gonna click end. All right, bye everybody.